The spring is the traditional reawakening. It's obvious. The great flowering has begun. The bulbs are flowering, daffodils, and the trees are flowering too. I think trees perhaps are the most noticeable aspect of the spring in some ways, because they are the biggest things. And when you see cherry blossom, it is the most delightful, the most abundant. I'm Paul Wood, the aptly named Paul Wood. I'm the urban tree guy, and this morning we're here in Winterbook Road in South London, surrounded by an entire street planted with Yoshino cherry trees. The Prunus genus, which is the cherries, the plums, the apricots, the peaches, the almonds. These are all the most dramatic flowering tree species that you will find in Britain commonly. The Yoshino cherry, which we're surrounded by here, also known as the Tokyo cherry, is actually quite uncommon in London, in the UK, but it is one of the earlier flowering species and one of the most dramatic ones, I think. It's quite fleeting though, so it doesn't last particularly long, but when it is at its peak, it's dramatic. The decision was taken to entirely plant the street with them, so there's a uniform size and number of trees here, which is very unusual in this time, because the overriding sort of philosophy of people who plant urban trees now is to build in diversity, so that if a catastrophe happens, for instance Dutch elm disease, it doesn't happen all at once. The other London particular is the parakeet. Japanese cherry varieties are associated with neighbourhood temples in Japan and have been bred over hundreds, if not thousands of years, to have particular features, which could be blossom colour, blossom shape, leaf colour, leaf shape. So that's why we have lots of different varieties. The first variety of prunus to flower in Britain tends to be the almond. Not particularly common, but it has very large blossoms, and that will be flowering in February. There's pink or white varieties of almond. Then it'll be the cherry plum, which is common in Britain. It tends to have purple leaves. There are lots of different cultivars, that is varieties of that species, and you will see pink or white flowered versions of that. Then the Yoshino comes out mid-March. After that we get a lot more of the classic ornamental Japanese ornamental cherry trees, and there's loads of different varieties of those. I think the classic ones, which are these Prunus seriolata, tend to come out in April. Beyond that, there's Prunus avium, which is the native cherry tree, which again is quite common. That's a bigger tree, has white blossom, again an April flowering tree. And then at the very end of the season, you might get bird cherry, which comes out even as late as May. Seeing trees in flower, cherry trees in flower, is a uplifting thing. I feel it absolutely as a joyous thing. I'm sure many other people do too. I know that it is a hugely wonderful and positive thing. Personally, I'm sure many other people feel that as well. It's worth celebrating, it's worth knowing more about it, I think.